Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 190, and I'll be perfectly transparent with you guys, as I always am. I don't know why, but you ever get those just waves of nostalgia for some reason? You'll just be like, life was better at a certain point, and I didn't realize it at the time. That just hit me for some reason as I was driving home from work one day, so I'm just like, no structure, no form, just shooting it freestyle when it comes to discussion. Random movie memories. There's no real criteria to this. Josh and I are just going to tell movie adjacent stories. That's really the only caveat to it. There's no structure to this. I was going to map out some stories that I had in mind, but said screw it. We're just going to freeform this. We're going to have our usual discussion topic, our news topics, and we'll go into a completely freeform discussion. It should be a lot of fun. But Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm chilling like a villain, my dude.
Of course you are. Every time.
Yeah. It's either chill like a villain or living the dream. I'm not sure if it's mine, but it's somebody's dream, I'm sure.
Living the dream is white person talk for I'm dying inside.
And that's why I say it all the time. Anyway, this afternoon, actually, I just beat Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the remaster. So, really, really doing like a lot of productive stuff today. So, before we get into what we're watching, I gotta share this story with Josh and y'all listening at home, and a friend of mine who I believe sometimes listens to the show. I don't know. So, yesterday, Tuesday, I checked Twitter and I see that Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Orlando is doing technical rehearsals. So they're not technically open. They're not advertising that they're open, but they're letting guests on. But they're just like, hey, ride at your own risk. We're still fixing the bugs because, it's got to be open this weekend for Horror Nights. So my friend and I from work were just like, we're both off tomorrow. Let's get up at the butt crack of dawn. I'll meet you at Park Open. We'll wait in line for the Mummy, and it's better be open. So they opened the queue after about 20 minutes in the blistering sun. It sucked. It was so hot. Sun was we're in the one spot that the sun was looking directly at us, and it was already it's you're in Florida or something. Yeah.
It was already 90 degrees at 9 a.m. So we're just suffering. Also, there's a massive thunderstorm right now. So if we lose power, it's Josh's fault.
Got it. Heard.
Not like that hasn't happened before on the podcast, and we've lost everything. But getting back on track, we waited for about 20 minutes. They finally released the line, and my friend just goes, "It's finally happening, Nathan. We're finally going to ride the Mummy," because it's been down for refurbs for 8 months. And so I told her specifically, I was like, I won't believe it until we're actually on the ride. So we get through the queue. Everything seems fine. We get on the ride, and already it's starting to make a lot more noise than it did before. Some stuff's grinding a little more. Everything just seems a little louder. Not in terms of the special effects or anything, but the ride itself is being loud. So for anybody that's ridden Revenge of the Mummy in Orlando, there's just a traditional ride part before you go backwards, and then you go launch forward into an actual coaster. So everything's going fine. We fall backwards. We turn around. We're about to hit the launch, and we don't move. And we're going, balls. Emphasis on tech rehearsal. And so after about 5 or 10 minutes, they're just kind of sitting there in stunned silence, and we're all just kind of going, we're all kind of too afraid to check our phones right now because it could be the one moment that we launch into the stratosphere and actually ride the ride. After about 5 to 10 minutes, the lights come up, and the PA is just going, "Your ride is currently stalled," to which all of us are just sitting in the car going, yeah, no duh, you think? And so after about 20 minutes, the evacuation team comes and is like, yep, sorry, ride's down beyond what we can let you guys ride. So we're seeing a little bit of the Mummy with the lights on. We all have to be evac'd. And my friend and I were just like, I really should have clarified when I said all it takes is for us to get on the ride and it'll be okay. We needed to get through the ride and then get off the ride. It's the technicalities.
I love that.
And now my friend will never let me live that down because I said specifically, we just need to get on the ride. Apparently that's not enough anymore. But in case any of you diehard Orlando fans were curious, because I know I was, Brendan Fraser survived. And that's all that matters in this world. So yeah, I'm determined I'm riding the Mummy at some point. It's just a matter of the mummy. Will the Mummy let me ride it? Because
Oh yeah,
didn't seem likely that day. We got on literally everything else, but although we had a delay on another ride, like it took us a little bit longer for the ride to actually start, and I go, I swear to God, if I broke another ride,
you start being the bad luck of all the rides in the park.
Watch this transition right here. I start to be the Brad Pitt in Bullet Train
Dude,
of the theme park.
Saw it!
I saw after my theme park exploits, which the rest of the day everything worked. I saw Bullet Train today, and it won't be my favorite movie of the year, I don't think, but it will probably have my favorite dialogue of the year. The dialogue in Bullet Train is so quippy and snappy and so Guy Ritchie-esque. This felt like a Guy Ritchie movie, right down to the accents. Gosh dang it, I hate when Josh is right. Aaron Taylor Johnson is the best thing about this movie. Like Brad Pitt's great as the main guy. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. Without delving into spoilers for this movie, I need
a lot to spoil, absolutely.
Oh, the trailers show about the first 20 minutes. That's about it. I was very happy with that, which is shocking considering this is a Sony movie. I need a movie with the twins. We'll just say that. The twins are the best thing about this movie. Watching two grown men argue about Thomas the Tank Engine and the moral lessons of Thomas the Tank Engine, I never knew I needed. But honestly, as much as I love Brad Pitt, he has never been funnier than he is in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple lines in this that I'm going to go, that's going right into my vernacular of, if you know, you know. If I had one in the chamber, I would use the crap out of this right now.
Yes.
I'm going, I'm stealing that. I'm using that.
It's so, like, I agree. It probably won't be my favorite movie this year, but it's definitely, like, maybe squeaking onto my top 20 all time. It's a good
all time.
Film.
All time.
It's a lot of fun to me. And, like,
wow.
Actively upset that I was entertained by Aaron Taylor Johnson.
His accent was so good.
I was like, stop being entertaining. I want to hate you.
But also, he gets emotion out of you.
Yeah. And the twins joke is fantastic. Like, all of the cameos are fantastic. Especially that last one.
Carver. Just Carver. Carver's not even supposed to. It was supposed to be Carver's job, but he called in sick with the stomach flu. Who still calls in sick these days? Come on, man up. That was so good.
Oh, like, so good.
Not going to be the best movie of the year, but I had so much fun with it. This is absolutely a fun movie. I was very pleasantly surprised that the trailers did not give away everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about another movie before the other movie that I know Josh and I both saw this week.
Yes.
I tracked down another Tom Cruise movie that I was determined was going to be better than Oblivion, and it was. American Made, directed by Doug Liman, who also did Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise. So this is a partially, some of the details are true, some of it's not, a partially true story of Tom Cruise plays this guy that basically hustled both the FBI and Pablo Escobar. He worked for both at the exact same time of this dude that basically started off taking pictures for either the FBI or the CIA, but then got caught by the drug cartel, and they're just like, we know you're taking pictures. That's okay, but how do you feel like, running drugs for us at the exact same time? And then the government finds out that he's doing running drugs, and they're just like, yeah, that's fine, but then we want this insurgency to rise up so you can kind of deliver guns while you're delivering drugs, and like he gets in way over his head, and it's what I wanted the Wolf of Wall Street to be, of like, it glorifies excess, but there's actual penalties for it. It's very, very entertaining. It's so over the top. This is the movie that actually taught Tom Cruise how to fly a plane. A lot of people are just like, he learned how to fly a plane for Top Gun. No, he already knew how to fly a plane. He learned how to fly a plane for American Made, which, watching American Made, he didn't really need to learn how to fly a plane.
No,
he's like,
the typical Tom fashion.
but like, it's also entertaining and kind of weird and bizarre to see. There's a scene where like one of the drug cartel guy gives him like a cross of Mary, or not cross of Mary, but
Like a rosary?
yeah, like a rosary or something to put on his dashboard as he's making this really, really short runway takeoff. It's weird seeing Tom Cruise hold any form of religious artifacts whatsoever that aren't somehow related to Scientology. American Made is probably one of the few movies that with Tom Cruise that Josh would actually like. It wouldn't be his favorite, but I think you would find it fascinating because the stuff the stuff that they dramatize is not that far off base of what they actually happened. Like a lot of stuff they made up, a lot of stuff they didn't make up of going, how is this a person that existed? But it was insane. It's pretty good. Better than Oblivion. That wasn't hard though. The other movie that Josh and I watched this week, Orphan First Kill. Now, just like the first one, Josh and I both went into Orphan First Kill as blind as possible. Josh probably less blind because I told him how good it was, but I didn't tell him. I tried not to tell him that there was a twist, so that way he wouldn't know to expect it. But even if you know there's a twist coming in Orphan, like the original, I still don't think you see the twist coming. And the twist in Orphan 2 somehow matches the twist in the first one, going, I was liking this movie enough, but you big brained this. And I'm very curious by this now. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Also, I tweeted about the movie and how much I liked it. And both the writer and the director liked the tweet, which I thought was very surprising. But cool. They're very active on social media, apparently. Good job, guys.
We're making it on in show business now.
That's how it is. We don't even have 100 followers on Twitter, but they still found us. This was a movie I didn't want, but I'm still happy it exists. It very pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Without diving too much into spoilers, the twist is fantastic, but I think they don't lean. I think the twist comes too early, and then the result is it makes the last like third of the film like kind of feel like super rushed. The other thing I watched this week is a little show on Hulu called The Bear. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's about this world-renowned chef whose brother commits suicide and gives him his restaurant in the will.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of this. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a Josh show.
Oh, it is. I actually got like lots of PTSD from it. Like I was like, oh, like there's a scene of like the ticket machine like printing out like continuously and everyone freaking out over it. And I was like, been there, done that. Oh man, like there's a lot of scenes in it. I was like, they ripped these two from my actual life, and I'm not a fan of that at all.
Okay. Just because I gotta ask, because I worked 2 summers in food, and I just want to know if Josh has had the same experience. Have you ever had nightmares about beepers in your like kitchen equipment?
Oh, dude!
Like all the time, you're just like, beepers going off, get the fries out.
Go! Yes, I've had that. I've heard the ticket machine like just randomly. I'm like in the house and it's quiet, and it just I'm like no, not here at all. I would highly recommend it. The show is better written than I think I was expecting. There's a lot of like little mysteries that are there, and the characters are all interesting. Anyway, yeah, fantastic. The Bear.
So our first news topic of the week, a surprise to be sure. I don't know if it's a welcome one or not, but I'm not gonna poo-poo it entirely for the most.
Poo-poo it entirely? Okay, dude.
Speaking of poo-poo, we're not gonna talk about it, but quick shout out to Dahlberg who asked us to talk quickly about the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey trailer.
Let's go.
How does that thing look even cheaper than I thought? Like, I was expecting it to look like it was made for $10, but it looks like Spirit Halloween movie has a bigger budget, but that makes sense. I'm still going to watch it. But getting back to the Fantastic Four news that we've got here that I'm on the fence about. Fantastic Four lost its director John Watts a few months ago, and they've been on the hunt for a new director ever since. Well, we heard a bunch of names being floated out there, and supposedly from insider scoopers, Marvel's looking at big name directors, and Steven Spielberg was one of the names at one point. I never bought that.
Get out of here.
But the name that supposedly Marvel has settled on is WandaVision director Matt Shakman, which surprises me to a certain extent, but at the same time doesn't, because while I didn't love how WandaVision ended up, I know a lot of people did, and I really think Kevin Feige liked how WandaVision worked, and so I think he trusts this guy enough. Kevin Feige also has a track record of bringing on television guys like Joe and Anthony Russo before doing Captain America. Had extensive work with television. I think they did Community is what they were famous for.
I think so, yeah.
So this makes sense that they bring in a television guy with so much experience. Like he's worked on so many different shows. I didn't even know until they did a full rundown of the TV shows that he worked on. He wrote and probably I think possibly also directed at least like 5 or 6 episodes of Psych. Some of them being pretty good, but not like standout episodes like the Freddie Prinze Jr. episode. But I was like, oh, okay, that makes me a little more on your side if you've done some Psych work. Maybe not some psych work. That sounds like he's been in a psych ward.
This isn't Lena.
Which it's weird to say, but Josh's new celebrity crush is the girl from Orphan.
I hate it, dude. At least it's not like a squirrel or something.
Which, to clarify, people, she's like 25.
Yeah.
But Josh, Matt Shakman, who is not working in a psych ward.
It's not a 12-year-old girl. Here's the thing. I think WandaVision is a really tough conversation for both of us, because there is a lot of it that I really enjoyed, and while I think they do suffer from maybe not like fulfilling all of the promises that they set up throughout the show, the ending is still pretty satisfying for the most part. The cinematography is pretty spot on, and all the character work is pretty good. I think. I mean, I don't really think it's that big of a stretch to have him do this, and I'm not necessarily nervous about it. I'm not, being like, yeah, absolutely, let's do this, let's get in there. But I mean, if you're gonna go with the director, like he's a pretty solid choice, I think. I don't necessarily think that there's any glaring downsides.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I don't hate it. I don't love it either, but it's a safe pick. I think too many people had their expectations high of completely unverified sources, really. I think maybe it was Variety or how they reported, maybe it was one of the major trades, but everyone was running with the idea that Disney was going to get a big name director because, quote unquote, Kevin Feige liked having Sam Raimi have more control over Multiverse of Madness so he could be more hands-off with it. Maybe he's going to be hands-off with... I highly doubt Kevin Feige's going to be hands-off with Fantastic Four. If there's one that he's going to micromanage the heck out of because he knows he's got to make it work, it's Fantastic Four. Because I think they're going to be very important going forward. And also just like, this is the one, besides X-Men, that people are the most looking forward to is Fantastic Four of like, are they finally going to get it right this time? I think Shakman doesn't blow me away as the option. But at the same time, while I didn't love WandaVision, I loved his attention to detail in WandaVision with how every episode was presented within the time period that it was set in. So I think, depending on how we want to present Fantastic Four, that could work. Because there's been theories forever that it's set in the 60s, and it's like the origin. They are Marvel's first family, and that they get caught in the quantum realm or whatever. And according to Kevin Feige, it's not going to be an origin story, which I still question that decision. But hey, it leaves the door open for them to fight Mole Man.
Mole Man!
I say that. But D23 is next weekend. So we won't talk about it on next podcast because D23 won't happen. But in 2 weeks from now, I feel like one of the discussion topics we'll be talking about is the full major cast for Fantastic Four. I feel pretty confident now that Matt Shakman will come on stage at D23, be officially announced, because he hasn't been officially announced by anybody within Marvel yet, I don't think. He'll come out on stage, and then one by one, they'll introduce the cast. Our Johnny Storm, Joe Keery, just throwing that out there, Ben Grimm, Seth Rogen, because I can totally see that, and then Sue Storm, and they will save Mr. Fantastic for last. I think they'll save Mr. Fantastic for last because they know people have been waiting for that the most of. At this rate, it's not fully the Henry Cavill Superman situation, but it's very much of we want there's a lot of people that want Krasinski, there's a lot of people that don't, but at this point, it's more of we just want answers more than anything else, and we'll live with it
Yeah.
either way. It's just we're getting tired of this. Every rumor at one point or another of it's this guy, it's this guy, it's the guy from you.
Yeah.
I've heard Henry Cavill's name being thrown out there. I'm going, guys, I have a headache. Just stop. Like, it's not Cavill because, again, those unverified sources are like, well, I'm like, stop it. Don't you give me hope. I'm tired of Who Cried Cavill. But I feel like we're going to get some fantastic forecasting and bring it back around to Mole Man. I'm sticking with my guns, and I'm not just saying that because I put him in my story pitch. I'm willing to bet money that Mole Man will be the first villain because I think they'll save Doctor Doom for later. I'm not one of those people that's immediately hopping on the train of, well, in the comic, Doctor Doom was the major villain in Secret Wars, so they got to introduce Doctor Doom soon so he could be the villain in Secret Wars for this one. I'm going, is it really that hard to believe that it's Kang for like both of them? Like Kang.
Yes.
Like,
yes, it is.
Like Feige said that it would be. I get that y'all want Doom. And I want Doom too. But it's possible that Kevin Feige means what he says and that Kang actually is the villain of Phases 4, 5, and 6. What a weird novel concept. But Shakman's not the sexy name. But for the most part, both talent-wise and behind the camera, Marvel gets the right choices. I trust their people for the most part. I wasn't overly thrilled with what Sam Raimi did with Multiverse of Madness, but I'm not gonna lie. At the time, I was very excited with his.
Yeah.
But even then, that was a situation that he was not the first pick. Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange, was expected to come back, but he left due to creative differences, probably wanting to introduce more horror than what they did. He went on to do Black Phone, and I think it worked out better for all parties involved. I still think Scott Derrickson could come back to the MCU someday. He's maintained a very professional relationship with them. He seems like a very cordial and good guy to work with. He says he wants to work with Benedict Cumberbatch again in a horror movie, to which I'm going, oh God, yes, please. Shakman, he's a safe pick, but which I think that's kind of what the MCU is becoming right now. Is they're kind of going with the safe picks, but D23, who knows? They could have some major surprises that they're taking some big swings at D23.
Yeah, and that's fair. The only reason I'm hesitant to say that they're going to save the casting of Mr. Fantastic to last, I think, is just because I think at this point, if you are going with John Krasinski, you just lead with that because that confirms everything, and then you get.
But then you blow your load on the first guy. No one else is excited for the other three, depending on who you get.
Depending on who you end it with, like if you actually, so if this isn't an
or
origin,
if you end with a Doom casting,
that's what I'm saying. Is I think if you end with Krasinski, then you're not going with John. If you lead with Krasinski, then you're doing a Doom. To me, in my mind, you're doing a Doom casting right off the bat. So, who knows? We'll see.
Changing gears now from Marvel to DC. Last week, we talked about how Greg Berlanti might be in the running to be the head of DC, to which I told y'all, shoot that down, because if David Zaslav really likes Greg Berlanti, he wouldn't have canceled all of Berlanti's shows. Now, it seems like we have a new guy. Again, this is not confirmed. They supposedly are in negotiations, but it seems like Warner Brothers has found their Kevin Feige, so to speak, for DC, just because that's the closest equivalent we have, in Dan Lin. Now, a lot of people, myself included, are not going to be familiar with the name Dan Lin, to which, I'll be honest, that makes me more excited, the fact that I haven't heard this name. This is a role that, like, we shouldn't know the person going into it. Diehard fans might have known who Kevin Feige was before Iron Man, but Kevin Feige became the rock star that he is in the nerd world after many years, and also working on a lot of things. Dan Lin has a very long track record of being a producer on a bunch of hit projects. He was the producer on both the new It movies, say what you will about the second one, but they're hugely successful. He did the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. He has a bunch of experience, and I think it was a Vanity Fair or Hollywood Reporter had an article about him when this news broke. Again, Warner Brothers themselves has not officially come out yet, so this is supposedly they're in negotiations and they haven't signed on the dotted line yet. But Dan Lin, something that immediately stood out to me in the article was he is well liked in the industry and he is not afraid to go to people when he does not know something. And I'm going, that is what I need to hear.
Yeah,
I need someone that
absolutely.
is willing to collaborate with others. And I know some people are like, well, does he know the comics? Here's something y'all aren't going to like. He doesn't need to. He can let the creatives be in charge of it. Like, sure, Kevin Feige knows the comics, but Marvel was not his first priority. He openly admits that Star Wars is his first love and passion. Marvel and Star Trek are about tied for second, according to the man himself. Like, he became a Marvel expert later. I don't think the qualification for this is you have to be an expert in DC Comics. That's what you hire directors and actors and other people in your bubble to work on. The fact that the reports are he's very well liked. The problem is that I've seen, and maybe it's just me wanting to come to the defense of this guy real quickly, is so many people were shooting this down because they read the headline of the article of, this is the guy that produced the It movies and will produce the new live-action Avatar Last Airbender series for Netflix, and everyone already just goes, he was responsible for that, a show they've never seen before, but because it's rebooting something from their childhood, they already write this guy off. I'm just like, it's... I think I blame more the person that put that in the headline because they know it would generate clicks. Of they're just like,
yes,
this guy is producing a project that I haven't seen before, but it's a remake of something that I like. Really? Look at this other catalog of stuff that he has done that you do like. He's been in this industry a long time, and then you've got those real bad people that are just like, he doesn't, quote unquote, look like me or act like me, therefore he's not qualified. I'm like, just because he doesn't know what issue of Crisis on Infinite Earth Supergirl dies in doesn't mean he can't do the job well.
Yeah. And I think the big thing, and I think nerds are really bad about this. I said that being a nerd. Whenever we see somebody going into this kind of this role, it's very easy to be like, what's their comic knowledge, blah 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 blah. And to be quite honest, like you said, I don't think it matters, because if you have
Day
someone,
Rocks. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Oh God, I haven't heard New Day Rocks chant in a while. I love that. But in my mind, if you have all of the knowledge, then you're pulling a Marvel where you're like always winking at the camera, like, yes, we introduced this person. You know that name. Wink, wink. You know what they're gonna do later down the road. Wink, wink. Like, it just a lot of like, you don't need to do that to tell a good story. And I don't think there's this thing called research that people do all the time, that you can get the information you need in order to tell good stories. And I don't think you need the whole world of comic book knowledge in order to understand the story that you're trying to tell.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of like where I was landing on, I guess, to me. And especially like if he's producing the new Avatar series, the live action one, the casting alone makes me interested in that show. So like, I don't understand why we're hating on that. I understand if people are like, it part 2? Yeah, no, I'm good. Because it part 2 is okay at best.
But here's where I will give everyone involved with It Chapter 2 a pass, because let's be honest, the first half of it is so much stronger than the second half, and it always will be, because the second one is very much just a rehash of part 1. Like, if the kids just did their job and finished off it the first time, the book would be a whole lot shorter and probably better. Because the second half is just rehashed. They just split them up only to bring them back together again and completely needlessly kill awesome characters. The difficulty is, no matter who was put in this situation, whether it was Dan Lin, Greg Berlanti, whoever else that does not have the name Kevin Feige, will have an uphill battle, because for better or for worse, they will be compared to Kevin Feige, even though the roles will probably be very different and their approach very different. Fans will... The thing is, if you're too much like Kevin Feige, they'll blame you and say, oh, he's just copying Marvel. But if you're not enough like Kevin Feige, they'll say, well, why aren't you just like Kevin Feige? Like, Kevin Feige has established his reputation as a stand-up guy who's willing to work with creatives and build this universe over a decade. People want a decade's worth of success overnight of like,
Yes.
doesn't matter if it's Dan Lin, whoever else gets put in this position, let's cut them some slack at first. I know people were like, you hated Bob Chapek right off the bat. Yeah, because he was in a position of power for years that I saw him do horrible
we already
things
knew
with the
what we
company.
were going to get with Bob
we knew
Chapek.
what we were going to get. So like when he goes into power, I'm going, yeah, I knew what to expect. We don't really know what he's bringing to the table yet. It could be great. Change sucks, and Warner Bros. Discovery is going through a lot of changes right now. Some of them are starting to piss me off too. I'm defending them more than most, but I'll admit some choices I hate too. But I'm not the one in charge making those choices, so I'll give them some slack. But yeah, it's an uphill battle for no matter who's in charge. So I'm rooting for Dan Lin because I want these characters to succeed and do well. It's just we maybe tone it down with Kevin Feige comparisons, at least for now, because it's gonna be a tough gig no matter who's in charge. Because
it's not fair to Dan. Like he's got he's got to give us a reason to hate him, because at this point there's not really a real reason. And and I'm gonna say this: if you're hating the decision of Dan Lin because he doesn't look like you, you can go ahead and just not be a part of the fandom. Appreciate it.
Yeah, because whether people admit it or not, I'm sure there's some bias there.
Yes.
So let's hop aboard the bad news, the DC bad news train.
God, dude.
This one's a weird one though. Of both Aquaman and Shazam: Fury of the Gods have been delayed. With Shazam: Fury of the Gods being delayed till March 2023, and Aquaman being delayed till Christmas 2023.
Odd.
I'm in the long term, I think this will be good for both movies because, more time to polish it. In the case of Shazam: Fury of the Gods, as much as Josh and I don't care about Avatar, the fact that it's not going head to head with Avatar anymore is probably a good move. It sucks that it's delayed, but if it means better box office for Shazam, but also it means that we could see Shazam in IMAX, cool. I'm fine with waiting because Avatar was actually going to hog up all the IMAX screens. They had them all booked up for when it comes out. Now with Shazam: Fury of the Gods coming out in March, it will have a whole lot less competition. It can have the IMAX format, which will get some extra money. And also, David Sandberg is used to working with no money, so I'm sure he's used to making the best out of special effects. He can make it a whole lot better with more time. Same with James Wan, and I'm sure Atlantis needs a whole bunch of special effects. So polish that up, finish that up as best as you can. Take Amber Heard out back and don't bring her back. Like, kick her out, but don't give her the key to come back in. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're just going to not use her a whole lot. The question is, though, now... Aquaman will now come out after The Flash. So, timeline-wise, how is this going to impact everything? Because we heard Batman will supposedly have a presence in Aquaman, but it might have just been a cameo. But, we originally heard it was Michael Keaton because it was set after The Flash, and Michael Keaton's Batman was going to be Batman going forward. Then we saw and confirmed that Ben Affleck filmed some stuff for Aquaman 2. So that was because Aquaman was coming out before Flash in the timeline. There was not the Keaton Batman yet. Now I'm just very confused, especially with Momoa going, yeah, man, we might even have more than one Batman in this movie. Going, stop confusing me, Momoa. You already confused me enough. How is your hair so perfect? It confuses me. But you're not helping your case here, Momoa. You know we're already very confused by this timeline. The Flash is just throwing us all kinds of out of whack right now. This sucks that it's delayed, but Aquaman, the first one, did incredibly well having that Christmas-related time slot and became champion despite having a whole bunch of competition around the same time. Although I will blame you, Aquaman, for the lack of success for Bumblebee. That movie should have done a whole lot better at the box office. Josh, Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, I think it was Lost Kingdom, and Shazam: Fury of the Gods both have been delayed. Thoughts?
It's very hard because I remember hearing a rumor, and I can't remember where, that Discovery Warner, they're pushing stuff back because they don't have, quote unquote, don't have the money to release these titles
Which
right
I
off
don't
the bat.
I don't know if I buy that at all.
That doesn't make any sense.
I
of
mean,
why you would
marketing?
make them. Yeah, like what? That doesn't make sense at all.
No, I think it's more of the Zaslav mentality that he said in an interview of we are not going to release a movie until it's ready. And I think maybe if the people involved with both movies said, "Hey, if at all possible, could we have more time?" And he goes, "Sure." Or maybe they want to space these movies out a little bit better because I feel like wasn't Aquaman an October release?
Yeah,
And it was like only like a month or two after The Flash.
Yeah,
Or
like it
before
was. Yeah, they were everything was really really close together. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a reason for them to kind of push everything back. To me, like, and I think in this specific case, them pushing it back is not like a red flag in this case. I think that's a, hey, like you said, hey, can we have a little bit more time? Or hey, can we let's space these things out a little bit more. Having a movie in December is during that winter time is a very good move. Putting your Shazam in March is a very good move. That's building up to the summer season, and March is typically kind of quiet sometimes. So you know what? Yeah, that's a good move. December has the potential to be quiet. Hey, that's a good move.
December's never quiet, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know, but sorry, I got a beard hair in my mouth. That was gross. But yeah, it doesn't spell doom to me like I think it would have like a couple months ago. My biggest complaint right now is all of that stuff that The Rock has been posting on his Instagram about all these big meetings they're having about Black Adam and how it's going to change everything, and I'm getting so stinking tired of it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm excited enough for the movie, but it has nothing to do with Black Adam. I'm so more excited for Justice Society. I'm also more excited for Black Adam to come out just so we don't have to hear The Rock say the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change. Like, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
This isn't a promo. This isn't a tagline. Like, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, you don't have to ingrain it to our brains. You're not selling t-shirts. Oh, they probably are selling t-shirts with the phrase.
I mean, wouldn't you?
And they'll make it with the crappy WWE shirt material. Although admittedly, it has gotten better in recent years.
I mean, yeah, but I'll never forgive them for me spending money on my Dolph Ziggler shirt and it becoming like the most like
starchy.
Like how I just got this shirt. How does it feel like I starched it? Like what in the world?
Also, quick side tangent, WWE. You do realize you can make shirts in other colors besides black, right?
No, that's not allowed.
You're not pro wrestling tees.
We're not. To be fair, most wrestling shirts are black, even on the independent circuit. Whether for better or for worse. Regardless, though, I think at the end of the day, I'm putting my faith in Zaslav as far for this move. As for now, it's getting. I don't know about you. It's getting really tough to defend them. I mean, they're having to make some really tough decisions. Yeah. So like, I'm understanding, but at the same time, it's like
bump the brakes just a little bit, man. You can't save all $3 billion overnight.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Well, let's just add to Warner Brothers' misery, shall we?
Yes.
And it looks like they might be losing a partner in Legendary. The people that helped make them a lot of money last year with the MonsterVerse. And Dune. Let's not forget about Dune as well, was a Legendary movie. It seems like Warner Brothers and Legendary might be parting ways, as Legendary, their contract, I think, is up maybe next year, and they're shopping around their options, and supposedly are interested in working with Sony and Paramount. I know so many people are going to hop on this. Again, Warner Brothers is in trouble. Zaslav is ruining the company. I think part of what's happening is factoring into Legendary's decision. They might not be happy with what's currently going on, but I think the bulk of the frustration, whether people want to admit it or not, has nothing to do with the current administration. It has everything to do with freaking idiot Jason Kilar and the previous administration. So Jason Kilar was the head of everything that made the executive decision without telling anyone, made the executive decision, hey, all of our Warner Brothers stuff that's coming out in 2021 is going to theaters and HBO Max the same day. And all the industry goes, screw you. No, especially Legendary, who financed most of Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune and was going to be severely hurt by this, actually took Warner Bros. To court. I don't think the situation is completely lost. It's just a matter of, okay, this will be the first major test for Zaslav among, many others. Can he keep Legendary? He's supposed to be really great with relationships. Can he keep Legendary? Can he repair this relationship that I'm sure he hasn't helped so far, but the bulk of the issues were pre-existing? Like,
yeah,
I don't think y'all realize how much damage Jason Clarke did to the Warner Brothers brand. That I know the changes at Warner Brothers Discovery right now seem frustrating, and I get it. I don't like all of them either, but they're working double overtime to try and repair the damage. And I know it may not seem like it, and even some industry insiders are like, yeah, they're not helping much. The previous administration did so much damage that they are still trying to get the splinter out, so to speak, before it gets even more infected. And this is one of those of Kalar and everything else just screwed so much of Legendary.
yeah.
But to be fair, Legendary has not always worked with Warner Brothers. They've worked with other companies before. So
well, yeah. So like, it's not like them moving to go work with another studio is that big of a deal. I do think I agree with you on that. It definitely is. This is coming more from the way WB screwed over Legendary Pictures over the pandemic. And because at first it was like straight up, Dune and Kong vs. Godzilla is going straight to streaming. We're not going to even put it in theaters. And to which it was like, hey, can't do that. It's kind of a contract breach. You can't just do that. Hold up. And that's why Legendary eventually took them to court suing. And I believe they settled. I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, it's to me, it's coming more from there. And honestly, like if, your contract is up and, the past 2 years, the company you've been working with has basically tried to throw you under the bus. Yeah, I wouldn't want to work with them either. I mean, I understand that there's a new regime in place, but like, I don't fault Legendary for their hesitance. I do think, Zaslav can potentially keep them, and that's partially just for me. I would love to have all of the Dune movies come out of the same studio, and like, yes, they're all going to come from Legendary, but I would love it to all be in one place. So, if if HBO Max is still a thing, this time next year, all the Dune movies are there, or, so you know what I mean? So I would prefer, obviously, if Legendary Pictures stay with Warner, but honestly, I don't blame them if they don't.
Yeah, I think both Sony and Paramount are both in a much better situation currently than they were like even 2 or 3 years ago, because Sony, I was thinking about it today, Sony's had a pretty decent year this year. Uncharted over-delivered for them at the box office. Say what you will about the quality of the movie. I don't think it's that bad, but it did well at the box office. Bullet Train it's doing okay, not nearly as well as they're hoping, but it's making some money for them. And then, the catastrophic box office success that was Morbin Time. Like, that was such a high point for Sony this year. They'll never top that.
It still makes me laugh that the meme community memed Sony so hard that they're like, oh no, they actually like it. They're going to watch it again if we re-release it. And then nobody went and saw it. They're like, oh!
And then all the memes were like, sorry, Sony, we were busy that weekend. Do it again. We'll see it this time. We promise. But even Paramount's right now the top dog right now because of Top Gun Maverick and Tom Cruise going, see? I told you I'd single-handedly save the box offices. We're going, you are about to be totally insufferable, aren't you, Tom? Because you were right. Tom Cruise might have single-handedly saved Paramount this year with Top Gun Maverick. Like,
yeah, because that thing's still going, isn't it?
It's still. There's a very good chance, depending on how Spider-Man More Fun Edition does, it could be #1 again. Because, like, Beast is under delivering. Dragon Ball, I think everyone went out to see it that first weekend. Top Gun could get number one again in like its 10th or 11th week. It's like My Big Fat Greek Wedding all over again. Which, if you haven't heard,
what
before,
a movie to be compared to.
Seriously, y'all, if you have not heard about the box office of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's the most fascinating story. Look it up. Of like, there was like no drop off from week to week. It was the weirdest thing. I could see Legend going to either one of these, but this is interesting to say the least. I just won't completely rule it out yet that the divorce is happening. It's just going to be an uphill battle for Zaslav to retain them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree because it's because of the last 2 years of everything Warner has done, because of the last couple of months of what Warner and Discovery is doing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of hesitancy from Legacy. And you know what? Maybe there's a big old grand plan that we're not aware of that like Zaslav's like, guys, don't worry, I got you. But like, who knows? I guess let's have this same conversation this time next year, and we'll see what happens.
Lastly, for our news topics, is honestly, and I mean this with full 100% sincerity, one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And after this trailer, I'm even more excited for Weird, the Weird Al story, starring everyone's favorite future Wolverine, Daniel Radcliffe. I refuse to. It will not be Tom Hardy. You need to let that go.
No. I let go of Tom Hardy a while ago.
No, it's gonna be the dude from Letterkenny. You watch, and I
don't hate that either.
I totally stole that from Nando V movies, but it will be Daniel Radcliffe. Mark my words. So they finally showed the first official trailer for Weird, the Al Yankovic story. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched this trailer, I kind of hated it because I didn't get the joke, and I was just like, why are we portraying Weird Al as an alcoholic? I don't think he ever dated Madonna. And then I felt like an idiot because I got the joke. Because I didn't know what this movie was going to be. I was expecting this movie to be Walk the Line, when in reality, it's Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. For those that don't know, that is a spoof of a biopic as opposed to a biopic. I was expecting this to be a straight biopic for some reason. But now, seeing it's Weird Al, it's the only thing that makes sense. Of course he's parodying biopics, which that makes the Daniel Radcliffe thing make so much more sense. Because in case y'all didn't know, Daniel Radcliffe is one of the funniest actors working today. He is so charismatic. He's so funny. And I've seen so many people that are just like, Weird Al is so tall, Daniel Radcliffe is so short. He's not the right height. He doesn't even sound like him. That's the joke. That's the point of the trailer. He's not even singing. It's literally a Weird Al song playing over bad lip singing from Daniel Radcliffe. But that's the joke. The moment that it hit me was the second time I'm watching the trailer is when he's a kid sitting on the table with his parents, and his parents are going, you just have to learn to accept who you really are and get rid of all the things you love or care about and get a real job. Going, that is so on the nose. Because, to be honest, there is some history with Madonna, but not like romantic history with Weird Al whatsoever. Because Madonna supposedly actually was one of the few people that's actually come to Weird Al requesting a spoof. So there is actually some history there. And casting Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, perfect. I cannot wait for this movie. I was excited before, but the fact that this is a spoof of biopics, a genre that is so easy to pick apart anyway, I cannot wait. And the fact that Weird Al himself is in the trailer multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. It's so good.
So good, dude. I thankfully I was in on the joke not in on the joke, but like I was, even if this was like not a spoof, I was down for it. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm here for this. Sure, whatever. I don't remember him dating Madonna. I love that. Oh, him sticking that lit cigarette on somebody's hand seems a little out of character, but okay, yeah, I'm here. It's the only thing that makes me mad is that this is on Roku, and I'm gonna have to find a way to watch it without. I mean,
it's on Roku, so it should just be free, I'd imagine.
I guess, but Daniel Radcliffe is easily one of the funniest people working right now. If you've seen Swiss Army Man, if you've seen like the Guns Akimbo, he's genuinely hilarious, genuinely like charismatic, and apparently ripped.
He was so jacked in that shot where he's coming out of the egg or whatever.
Yes.
I was going, dang, Wolverine.
To me, that adds to the joke, though, is because like Weird Al is not known for being jacked at all. Oh man,
I love though the joke of just like, I was a raging alcoholic, I cast away my bandmates, which only diehard Weird Al fans know. He has a band with him that he's had his entire career. Like he's an uber loyal dude, but also he's never drank, he's never done drugs. He's like more straight edge than CM Punk, except he's not a dick. Like, I was talking to one of my coworkers. Weird Al is like Steve Irwin and Mr. Rogers. No one hates him. He is a great human being that literally everyone's just like, Weird Al? Oh yeah, Weird Al, man. Weird Al.
Dude, what a guy.
But it's like, it's so cool being a Weird Al fan going, hey, that's the music video for Like a Surgeon. That's that. I'm going to be rewarded for this, aren't I?
I think my favorite line in the trailer is like, yeah, Al Yankovic, that's such a long name. We need to change that.
Weird.
What about Weird Al Yankovic? I love it. Like, that's I was like, yeah, that
and
works.
The fact that it's Rainn Wilson as Dr. Demento.
Yes. Oh, dude. And the top hat. I don't get it. I'm so bad. It's so
that's what Dr. Demento looked like.
That's so funny.
That's almost like spot on to Dr. Demento.
I think the more and more I see it, this movie, the more and more I'm just going to watch the crap out of it. I don't know, quote unquote, how good it will be, but like, I'm going to enjoy the crap out of it. That's for sure.
Yep. And as always, well, come on, Graphic. You can do it.
I believe in you.
And as always, this week's episode is sponsored by... Do a barrel roll out of this awkward transition because our graphics don't always work. This week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it's t-shirts, mugs, stickers, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media, or other fantastic designs that we've got. TeePublic's always got sales going on, so we should probably keep you guys in the loop for that, but we do a terrible job of that. Support the show.
We're terrible at marketing. If you can't
we're so bad at marketing. We really, really are. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, or if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube, help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year so we can talk about Darth Jar Jar with all the seriousness that it deserves.
Yeah, baby.
So, for our main discussion today, we really don't have any form of structure to this week. We're just like, you know what? Anything movie related that we have memories or interesting stories that we have, let's talk about them. Because I don't know why, but I just like got on this like nostalgia trip specifically about Family Video. I'm just going, man, I'm so sad. I still have not gotten over that that's gone. Also, I looked it up on MapQuest. The building is still there with the Family Video branding. I'm going, so the Little Caesars is still there. She just got this big old empty Family Video. No one's moved into it. Okay, that's fine. I can't do the Harry Potter meme of, how dare you stand where he stood.
I've seen, but like, I would totally like, if it wasn't in the town that it's in, I would totally go back and like put a bookstore in there. Like, that's like a perfect location for one. But anyway.
Transform all Family Videos into bookstores and just keep the shelves. Well, they probably, I think they sold, no, they sold the shelves too.
That's fine. I'll buy shelves. I'm rich, obviously.
More rich than you were a couple months ago.
Oh, that is true.
You both, man. That's what it means getting into your 30s. You make more money, but also everything costs more.
Yeah, I've been looking at housing the past couple weeks, and it's like, right. So anyway,
you and me both, dude. Tennessee is a quickly flourishing state, and it price reflects that.
Yes, it does.
So let's start with Family Video. I have a lot of memories, obviously, with Family Video. The sad thing is, though, the episode where we broke the news that Family Video was closing permanently, Josh wasn't on that episode. I think that was either during your hiatus or one of the weeks that you were just busy. Yeah. So you and I have never really gotten to talk about our Family Video memories, and I've got more Family Video memories with you than I do with the person, Michael, that hosted that episode with me. Like, he obviously came kicking and screaming with me the numerous times. So I'm gonna just open it up with this. I never saw the final tally of how much I spent at Family Video, but I saw how much I spent my freshman and sophomore year. And it was definitely in the triple digits.
Attaboy.
And it wasn't.
Attaboy.
And it wasn't. The number wasn't a 1 or a 2. Let's just say I spent more time, at least freshman year, I spent more time in Family Video than I did with friends because...
well, you would have had to have them, right?
Exactly! And Josh knows the people that were on my floor freshman year, and those were what we call two-faced scumbags. Can you spell that out with me, friends? Two-faced scumbag.
It just turns into like some weird like Sesame Street Dora the Explorer episode.
Like,
can you see?
Like the Eddie Murphy SNL. Do you know about squatters' rights? What you want?
It's just a skit from the Chappelle Show. Modern problems require modern solutions.
But yeah, Josh is right. I had no friends freshman year. I could laugh about it now. I could laugh through the pain. Because I have no pain now. But gosh, I despise the people freshman year. Two-faced backstabbers. Happier times. I spent so much money there. Also, for a place called Family Video, you're a lot less family-friendly than Blockbuster, as you know. There's 2 doors at Family Video. One goes to the bathroom, one goes somewhere else. Don't get those doors mixed up.
Yeah, baby, let's go!
All right, 1 year worked at Family Video, so, I mean, we already lived there, but we would visit him all the time and go, where's the bathroom? Go to, back there. Make sure you go to the left, not to the right. What's to the right? Oh! That's something different.
Go to the right and I'll know.
There's people that spent way too much time in the door on the right.
Yes, sir. Not me, obviously. Mom, that's not me.
Josh spent more time in the bathroom.
Yes, I did.
What you mean? Considering there's a Little Caesars next door? There's a Little Caesars next door? Yes.
Yeah.
Which, okay. Soapbox. Little Caesars gets too much hate. They really do. If you get Little Caesars when it's hot and fresh, like when they just made it, not that bad. Also, Little Caesars, I will make the case that Little Caesars is the best pizza to have the next day. The cold Little Caesars is better than any other pizza cold.
I have that Facebook meme in my head of like Little Caesars like, hey man, we got hot and ready pizza here. Is it good? What part of hot and ready don't you understand?
It is hot and it is ready. What more do you want? Okay, what? Do you remember the first time you went to Family Video, or do you remember like your earliest Family Video memories? Do you remember any of our trips in particular?
Okay, look, I'm gonna be straight with you.
Josh has terrible memory in general.
Yeah. Like it's a historical fact that because of all my concussions, there's a lot of stuff I just don't remember. Also, we're closing in on 6-7 years since college. So, some time has passed.
We were freshmen 10 years ago.
I know, it's kind of crappy, isn't it? Kind of hate yourself there, huh?
I was like 50 pounds lighter then. No, dude. Anybody that knew me in freshman year of college and high school, if I stood sideways, you couldn't see me. I was a stick. I mean, that's fair. It's not that I'm 30s. My metabolism has slowed way down. All that matters
hasn't changed at all.
My diet has not changed. Well, my diet has changed. I've switched to 0 sugar sodas for the most part, which honestly have gotten a whole lot better.
Yeah,
random movie memories where we just go to whole.
That helps so much. Oh, dude. Okay, but to get back on track. I got you. Okay,
it's gonna be so off the rails,
which
is the whole point of this episode. We just wanted to just go off all kinds of rails, like a bullet train.
Outside. Ooh, oh, gosh, that movie's so good. outside of the extensive horror movie marathons in college that we used to have during the whole month of October, which is fantastic. I do have memories of like you and me, and usually Alex. We'd go, hey, like it's not far. It's actually pretty nice out. You want to just go walk? Let's go walk to.
Oh, it didn't
walk to
matter if it was
Family
nice
Video.
out.
That's fair.
We'll talk
Let's go
about
walk
that
to
later.
Family Video, and we'll get some stuff, and then we'll chill and quote unquote do homework while we watch a movie. There's never quotes.
If
on
anybody knows Josh, he did not do his homework.
If you look at my freshman year, like my first half of freshman year, yeah, I did not do homework.
Yeah, so did I. I was on the honor roll freshman year because I had no friends, so I had no choice but to do homework. It was either do homework or face the harsh reality of the world.
I was put on academic probation my freshman year, dude. Like it was not good. But yeah, no, like
that explains because of your field.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but like I have a vivid memory of like one of my roommate at the time, other Nate. He was like, Josh, like you're always watching, martial arts movies, that was like a weird staple for me in college. Of
in
like
college.
Yeah, okay, don't at me. But like he was like, there can't be that many good martial arts films, and I went, boy, let me treat you. And he's like, I was like, I bet you $20 I can get you a good martial arts movie every day for a whole month. And he was like, there's no way. And I started making a list and ended up with I think it was like 150 movies, martial arts movies that were like actually pretty solid, and like handed it to him, and he was like, there's no. I was like, watch them, find out. And I think he got halfway through, and he's like, yeah, these are really good.
How can you discount an entire genre?
It's so funny. We can be like, hey, Josh, do you have any memories from college? I'm like, nah, not at all. Hey, Josh, do you have any martial arts movies you recommend? Bro, welcome to my store. Here, let me like show you like 15,000 movies that I know of.
Funny thing is, we could just stop at Josh, do you have any memories? And it would just stop. Maybe this discussion topic was a bad idea. Would it be hindsight or foresight? To be fair, y'all, if you listen to those older Wrestling Days episodes with Josh, his brain was jello.
It was bad.
Back when Josh was recording in cars.
Gosh, dude.
Let's talk about that. Oh, man. Also, yeah, we'll break that news at the end of this episode. I'll just make that executive decision now. I'll make that announcement at the end of this episode. So listen to our ramblings, and I'll make some news.
Yeah. All right. So hit me with some actual like movie memories.
Family Video would rip you off, and I kind of loved it. So what I mean is they would rip you off is they would have the new releases, and they'd be like, what, $3.99 for one night, $5.99 for like 3 nights, and those quote-unquote new releases would last forever. Okay, I'm still pissed about this. It's gonna sound weird, but why the heck was Pitch Perfect in your new release section for almost the entire time we were in college?
Because
it's not a new release if it's been multiple years.
but it's a good movie.
The sequels had come out.
But they're not good. The first one
doesn't matter. If I want to go back and rent the first Pitch Perfect, because like Josh said, it is good. I like the I like the first Pitch Perfect. Wow, that's so hard to say. I like it. I wanted to rent it. I didn't want to pay that much money when you have other rentals that were $1 or 2 for $1. That's where Josh and I lived, was the trash pile that was 2 for $1. 5 Good Things would not exist without the 2 for $1, the 2 for $1 section, which was so many
5
movies.
Good Things barely exist now. But we got to get back on that, my dude.
We gotta stop promising things that don't actually happen. That's our worst character flaw. But okay, so I say Family Video ripped you off because a lot of the time the seasonal movies they put like on a shelf, like Halloween, Valentine's Day, Christmas, and those would be specially marked prices of like $2.99 or $3.99 because they're seasonal movies. When those movies weren't in season, 9 times out of 10 they were in the 2 for $1 section. So you could either watch the original Halloween on DVD or Blu-ray, DVD at the time. You could either watch those on DVD for 50 cents for 11 months out of the year, or during Halloween, you could watch it for $4 instead. Like, the heck, man? You're ripping us off. You can't just stockpile all the Halloween movies get them in March and just have them.
What? They did.
We probably could have done that because we had such good rapport with management that we could have just they could have just been like, yeah, whatever, screw your late fees, just keep them. No one's asking for Bats. Like, we would always pass. I remember we always passed Bats, the movie Bats. I'd never heard of the movie Bats. I haven't heard of it since, but there's a movie called Bats, and we would pass it every single time. It was right next to, I think, like Battlefield 2049 or Battlefield Earth. Like, I had the lineup memorized for a really long time.
We'd always be like, hey, what about Bats? We can watch Bats tonight. And
I still don't know what it's about.
Collectively as a group go, or we watch something else.
The best thing that we would do with Family Video is, and this episode is going to end up being a Family Video celebration. I don't even care. The best thing we would do at Family Video is we would, like, a whole bunch of us would go and pick one movie each that it's like the most random movie we could find. And then we just get a pile and we would go back to the dorm and pick the most random and watch that. Like, were you with us when we watched a movie called FDR American Badass?
No. Oh, I wish.
Oh my God. The movie was so wrong. Like, there's a scene with FDR in a wheelchair, Marco, polio. And I'm going, no! No! So it's like, it was almost like a Comedy Central movie of just, what if Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but with like a $5 budget and more of a scary movie sequels vibe to it. And we're just going, who picked this out? And why? But on the flip side, someone also picked out like Be Kind Rewind, which ended up being fantastic and hitting us just at the right emotional spot. Or some weird ones. Somebody picked out something terrible once. So we basically made sure that they couldn't pick anything else. Like, they picked out like The Grudge or something. We're like, we're falling asleep here. No, wait. It was Wreck. I don't understand why people like Wreck. REC? I think it was Alex. Alex lost his picking privileges after that because Wreck was so boring.
God, I don't know.
I don't think Josh was maybe Josh wasn't there the entire time.
I'm trying to, and like that happens sometimes of like, because there was a long period of time where I just like did not leave my room a lot for various reasons. But shout out to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter being like an actual entertaining movie with the most ridiculous premise ever. Like, oh, love that stuff. Oh my goodness. God, too. Speaking of boring movies, you know what's so funny is so you know the movie Bolt, right? Like, it's an actual pretty good film.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a forgotten Disney movie if ever I've heard one.
Fantastic movie. Such a good time. I enjoyed it. So
showing your age with that one.
Yeah, just a little bit. Speaking of age, I went and saw it in theaters with my grandma. And she was like, Josh, I would love to go to see a movie with you. And I was like, you know what? Yes. You know, creating memories with my grandma. Like, I have no issue with that. I want to say 15 minutes in, she was out cold. Like, cold, just asleep. I was like, well, I guess I'm enjoying this by myself. And I did. I enjoyed the crap out of it.
Okay, I don't know if you're like me, but my grandma, all throughout the summers growing up when I lived in Pennsylvania, would take me to the $5 movies, the super cheap movies that are like the throwback stuff all the time. For some reason, the one that sticks in my brain, I don't know why it freaked me out, especially looking back going, really? That movie is what traumatized you? The Brendan Fraser, Dudley Do-Right movie.
Really?
So here's the context. I don't remember the movie at all, except for this one scene of Snidely Whiplash, which I played in the second grade play, and I crushed it, and also got to eat brownies on stage and get to say, suck it, I'm eating dessert in front of all you other plebeian second graders. I'm better than you.
Really remembering that line. Really proud of you there, bud.
Oh, that was not in a second grade play. I just remember that I got kicked out of town because the desserts were so good, and they sent me packing with good desserts or something like that. It was weird. But
that is okay, sure.
I remember Snidely Whiplash was the bad guy in the Dudley Do-Right movie, and whoever the girl was, I forget most of this movie. she's home by herself, and I think maybe this is completely not what happens in the movie, but it's how my brain remembers it. Um, like the bad guy's coming to the girl's house, and I was afraid he was gonna come and kill her. I was so convinced that the bad guy was gonna kill Dudley Do-Right's girlfriend, in a children's movie. I got so freaked out and convinced myself, oh no, the villain has dressed himself up as Dudley Do-Right and he's going to kill Dudley Do-Right's girlfriend. I got so freaked out. I made my grandma and me leave the theater. I was so freaked out that Dudley Do-Right's girlfriend was going to die. I have not gone back and watched it since, and no one remembers the Brendan Fraser Dudley Do-Right. But for some reason, that sticks in my head. There's plenty of other great movies I saw during $5 movies of like, was it Fievel Goes West?
Yes!
Or movies like that. $5 movies are great. But for some reason, I'm always traumatized by Brendan Fraser's Dudley Do-Right, a movie I'm sure most of our audience doesn't know exists.
You know what's really crazy is, speaking of movies that like terrified us as kids, excuse me, it actually made sense on like why, as an 8-year-old, I watched Jurassic Park and could not get through it because of the for whatever reason, like 8-year-old
Jeff
Josh,
Goldblum.
Whenever we got to the scene where she finds Samuel Jackson's hand on her shoulder, freaked me out so much every single time. I'm talking for like 10 years. Like I don't think I saw Jurassic Park for the first time like in college. Like I just did not watch it because I was like, oh no. I just had that like memory of things being terrifying.
So,
and I just couldn't watch it for the longest time, which is hilarious. Thinking about like that, I just watched last night watched a horror movie by myself in a dark room.
It's different when you're an adult, unless it's The Strangers and you watch that by yourself. Then all bets are off.
I'm good. Thank you.
Speaking of movies that traumatized you, my family will know the movie that I credit for why I'm afraid of snakes. If anybody asks, yes, I am man enough to admit I'm deathly afraid of snakes. If you want a white kid to set the new land speed record and beat Usain Bolt in a race, put any form of a snake near me. I almost lost it in Bullet Train, but that snake looks fake enough that I was okay with it.
Yes.
This movie traumatized me, and still to this day, kind of gives me PTSD even just thinking about the movie. The live-action Jungle Book starring Jason Scott Lee.
Really?
And Lena Headey. Because...
Oh, actually, whoa, that's a memory that like I
and Carrie Elwes. And Carrie Elwes.
I remember being terrified of him like falling in the quicksand in the water. Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow. Sorry. Continue, my bad. Whoa,
that movie's also a whole lot darker than I remember of like, hey, this guy has a cut. He's stuck in a tomb that's filling with sand. The sand is going in his open, gaping wound, making it worse, and he's going to drown in salt while literally having a salt in the womb. That's a different movie. Whoa. You got Carrie Elwes being a dick. You got the most terrifying tiger. Like,
dude,
like,
doesn't like a guy like drowned from quicksand in that movie?
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
All the deaths in that Jungle Book go way harder than they probably should for a children's movie. You've got a dude that gets attacked by a tiger after, like, honestly, one of the most tense scenes in movie history of he's like fumbling, trying to put the bullet in the gun. He's just like,
oh my,
and then the dude like gargling quicksand as he's dying. You got the guy that dies from salt.
Wow.
You get the most terrifying snake in the world that drags Carrie Elwes to the death that he so rightly deserved in that movie. And then you're just like, oh man, he's sinking. That sucks. What is he sinking about? Hey. And then as he's sinking, he sees all these skeletons around, and they're just like, oh god. And then this terrifying snake that you thought already killed him comes rushing out of nowhere, and it's horrifying. The CG's not great looking at it now. I don't care. It traumatized me that much that the CG is good in my brain. Also, like, that King Louis is terrifying because he summons the snake. Like, King Louis is literally just an ape in that. It's not like Christopher Walken, which is also a terrifying concept, but it was just an ape that just goes crazy. But I remember anytime I see the ape or anytime they go in the temple, I close my eyes or go to a different room because screw that snake and the years of trauma that I'm still getting over because of how terrifying that entire movie is. Great, but Mowgli gets shot.
Yeah, like Mowgli like goes
Baloo
through the
almost
ringer.
dies.
Doesn't he like it ends up him like living in the village like it always does, but like
Yeah.
it's like an actual like really emotional like
Baloo almost
thing.
dies and he's got like this trauma and like this swirling.
Yeah,
What
like,
are you
he's, like,
doing, Disney?
Yeah, like oh my gosh, like I just went through all this trauma stuff with like my best friend the bear and my best friend the panther. And yeah, now I'm gonna go like live in a village and like doesn't that ends up like almost getting the villagers killed or something like that.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
And
God,
yeah,
wow, memory unlocked.
and it's again, Kitty, the young girl in that, is Lena Headey from Dread and Game of Thrones.
No,
It is.
no. Hold on, I gotta.
That
There's
cast
no
is
way.
so stacked. You got Lena Headey as Kitty. You got Carrie Ellis as the douche hunter. You got Jason Scott Lee. You got John Cleese. Josh is looking it up. Sure
What is-
enough.
okay, what year was it?
I think 1998 or 1999, maybe
94.
94. Oh, jeez.
Dude, it got a digital remaster.
Yeah, it was on HBO Max for the longest time for some reason.
Gosh, yeah. Wow. That like Jason Scott Lee, Sam Neill, Lena Headey.
Oh yeah,
John
Sam
Cleese.
Neill's in it as an
Yeah.
Indian guy.
Yeah, like oh, that was weird. Freaking Carrie Ells, like that's God. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. I might
Josh
have
knows
to,
what he's watching and closing his eyes for certain scenes.
hopefully, as a grown adult who's now seen some horrifying things via horror movies.
Okay,
that
no,
I'm
when
not
I
like,
started getting
ooh, a CGI snake.
when I got into horror movies in college, I was like, okay, I can handle scary things now. I'm gonna look up the YouTube clip of the snake from Jungle Book and see if it still terrifies me. And I actually got scared just looking up, going, "Please don't be the thumbnail. Please don't be the thumbnail. It's not the
It's not the
thumbnail. What does it look like?"
thumbnail.
I was like, oh, the CG looks so much worse than I thought. But my heart is still pounding because this snake, they treat it like it's Michael frickin' Myers with how much
It
build up
does.
and like
They really do.
like they
Oh,
build the
man.
snake up as the most terrifying thing. And oh god, that
There's-
movie,
oh
man,
my- wow.
that movie still gives me trauma to this day.
Gosh, dude. So many
Core
okay,
memory
okay.
unlocked for Josh.
Speaking of core memories, did you ever see the Thumb movies? There was all
Holy
these
crap, Thumb Wars!
yeah, Thumb Wars, and there was
Thumb speaks shooby dooby with me.
yeah, the Indiana Thumb. It was like the oh my gosh, yeah, because they like did a parody of like Star Wars. There was one of Indiana Jones. There was a Batman one where instead of Batman and Robin, it's Batman and Blue Jay, and he wears this terrible costume. It's so funny. There's a Franken-Thumb. Oh my gosh, Franken-Thumb! Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So for
I
those that
I remember the thumb thing because I remember it was maybe it was junior high. It was one of those class days. So it was in an actual classroom. Josh, you might not know what that is because you're homeschool.
wow. Okay. Screw you.
So it was one of those just like nothing days. The teacher was looking for something to put
Yeah,
on,
of course.
and one of my classmates had Thumb Wars on DVD with him for some reason, and the teacher's like,
as one does.
"Yeah, I don't." He's kind of a weird kid. His mom drove without hands on the regular, and always freaked me the crap out. And so the teacher's like, "This DVD says not rated. That means it's inappropriate for kids." To which my smart aleck butt immediately goes, that's not what that means. You're thinking of unrated. There's a difference between unrated and not rated." And I go into this whole spiel in front of the teacher of why Thumb Wars is okay to watch because not rated just means it hasn't been rated, whereas unrated means it probably does contain some stuff that's not appropriate. It's going, haha, it's not rated. And then the scene with Thumb Obi-Wan and Thumb Luke happens of what they look at how they look at the hologram, and the teacher immediately turned it off and goes, it is not appropriate. I'm going, I just told you it's not rated, not unrated. I didn't promise
It's
that.
not my fault. You
It's
still
his
believe
DVD.
the
I've never
child.
seen this movie. It's his movie. Blame him. He should know better.
The Thumb Wars was so what? Like, okay, so for those that don't know, Thumb Wars is exactly what you think it is. It's literally the entire movie of New Hope, just reshot with terrible CGI, and every character is a thumb with costumes on it, and they annoying orange style, put a face on the thumbs, and it's like. And it's the one I remember Princess, because Princess Leia, it's not Princess Leia, it's Princess Cinnabon, and she has giant cinnamon rolls on this, like actual cinnamon rolls on the side of her head. Gosh, man, that was crazy. Oh, I just like
Josh
I
is
just have a
unlocking
vivid
all
memory.
his core memories tonight.
Yeah, I have a vivid memory of them like going onto the death thumb and being like, "All right, rogue leader, check it off." Blah blah blah. They start, sounding off whatever, and one of them goes, "I'm naked," and then immediately gets blown up. I was like, "This is top tier comedy, bro. I don't know what this is."
Man,
God,
that's the dark times in entertainment. That I know a lot of our audience probably grew up in this time period, but the mid 90s to the early 2000s were a weird time for entertainment, both musically and movily, I guess.
you could make anything.
The 98 Godzilla was allowed to happen during that time period.
It's not that.
That's a lot of fish. If you titled it something besides Godzilla and it was just another monster, fine. It's just a movie with bad CG. But as a Godzilla movie, even the people that made Godzilla, like Toho, was like, what did you do? You have Matthew Broderick, who literally has killed someone. But this might have been before he killed someone. Never forget, Matthew Broderick killed someone, and they kind of want you to forget about that.
He probably has.
Was it South Park? There's just like, remember, no, it was Family Guy. There's just like, never forget, Matthew Broderick killed someone. And then they just like stopped the episode. And like,
Family Guy. Gosh, Family Guy is like one of those shows. It did that all the time. Like, don't forget, Laura Bush killed a dude in a car accident. Like, they do that stuff all the time. Like, never forget. Oh man, my obsession with My Morning Jacket, which is a band, comes from like American Dad, because they have a whole episode dedicated to Stan getting high and listening to My Morning Jacket. And for whatever reason, my like teenager
Josh resonated with that.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I was like, as someone who has never done weed in my life, and I've never had done weed in my life, yeah.
It's the rebellious homeschooler in you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because
living vicariously.
Statistically, homeschoolers never go off the deep end ever. That is not a thing that happens.
Sure, PK.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just like, okay, but we're talking about like core memories and like times that we like first saw things. And like, I have a vivid memory of like the first time I watched Lord of the Rings. Like, I was like 10, 11, 12, something like that. And like seeing the Mines of Moria scene for the first time blew my mind. And then like, I think that was like like, I was always into like fantasy and like knights and all that kind of stuff, but like, I think for me, like, that was the moment that was like, oh wow, like there's a lot you can, like, this big story is so cool. Like, wow, like that troll really like looks real. And honestly, for to some standards, like today, the CGI is okay. It has not held up well, excuse me, that's not fair, because like a lot of the tricks, unless you know that the tricks are there, you don't really know that they're happening. But gosh,
yeah,
dude,
my
like,
dad would point out, like, see how it looks a little different here?
yes. I was like, but like, I love that like we're part of this whole generation that like, all right, when you show somebody Lord of the Rings, you have to especially the Two Towers, you have to force yourself to not tell them about how Virgo like broke his toe on that helmet.
Oh my god, that's such a like generational thing of like every quote unquote early film fan was like, hey, did you know Viggo Mortensen actually broke his toe, and that scream of agony in Two Towers is actually him screaming in agony because he broke his toe? Did you not know that? That's such a cool,
that's so
unique
fascinating.
fact.
Isn't it cool?
And
wow.
Oh my god, please don't tell me you were that guy that thought they had the best Gollum impersonation, because we all knew at least one person that's like, dude, you'll never guess what, I have the best Smeagol impersonation. And you go, oh, that's not an interesting character feature. You're not unique. And it's either that or they think they've got a really unique and good Christopher Walken.
So it was worse.
Oh god.
it wasn't just me. It was me, my best friend at the time, and I think Ben did it too, my brother. Like all three of us would sit in the circle and do the impersonations and have like a whole conversation, which nowadays I understand like doing impersonations in those kinds of settings can be very, very funny. You just have to like time it right, you know, and the content's important. Like saying like really messed up stuff in a Mickey voice is a lot of fun. But like, yeah, like it was
Don't
totally
be that guy that like opens conversation with, be like, "You got any special skills?" Oh yeah, I got a really good Gollum voice. Like the person, that always did the Gollum voice, the person that always did the Gollum voice, was like made that their one defining characteristic of just like, "Hey, here's my one party trick that I've got: a lackluster Gollum impersonation. You want to hear it?" And everyone's just going. We're more or less obligated to say yes, I guess. Like, get it over with.
Because to get it over with. Because otherwise, they're gonna just bother you about it.
Yeah, says the dude that thinks he's got a good Owen Wilson and Nicolas Cage impersonation, but in reality, it's just
just
pretend. No, there's a big difference between wow and not the bees. They're in my eyes. My eyes. You gotta draw out. You gotta draw out the old.
It's the same voice to me.
But you can transition. You can transition very easily from the Nicolas Cage. You just gotta make it not as deep, and you gotta repeat a little bit.
You're literally the Gollum kid right now. You're literally the Gollum kid right now.
But see, I will never acknowledge that I can do Gollum. At least Nicolas Cage and Owen Wilson are interesting, because if you didn't have the Gollum guy, you had the Christopher Walken guy of just like, no, you can't do Christopher Walken. He doesn't actually talk like that. Like, yeah, he just does it for comedic effect. You do realize that, right?
And it's very funny. Oh my gosh. Like I think we're just like unlocking core memories. Like I think there was a very like, I want to say 2 to 3 year run where I was just discovering all of these like very funny movies. Like, I mean, Thumb Wars
funny
is like,
to Josh.
Okay, but like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like I saw at my uncle's for the first time when like my brother, like Ben and I, were sitting in like the room that we were staying at his house up in Calgary. No, I think it was Red Deer. No, he lives in Edmonton. Yeah. He lived in Edmonton.
So Canada.
As
opposed to Calgary, like, Maine, or Calgary, Wisconsin.
Yes, I have a vivid memory of like I was having a pretty good time with the movie, and then like not being sure if it ends, and like, you know, like that black, like it fades to black, it cuts to black and just stays there. And Ben and I both were like, I would not be surprised if we sat there for like 30-45 minutes being like, is that it? Is that because it was a DVD, right? And sometimes they don't turn off if they don't have a menu. They don't go to the menu. They just like stop or whatever. And back in the day, like way back in the day
when bonus features were a thing, dude, I miss interactive menus.
I miss the crap out of bonus features.
Okay, for those that don't remember, another core memory here: the bonus features and just the DVD options for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on DVD went so hard. If you wanted to get to the bonus features, like the deleted scenes, back when there was deleted scenes for Harry Potter, you actually had to type in the correct code to get to the bonus features. You had to tap the exact same bricks that Hagrid hits on the wall in order to unlock the bonus features. It was the coolest thing in the world. Go back to what you were saying before. Something about Uncle in Calgary, because that triggered something that I was like, oh, I want to talk about that, but I forget what it was, and it's going to come back to me.
Watching Monty Python for the first time. And
okay.
But he like, my uncle introduced me to the Flying Circus show that they did, and I was like, this is comedy gold, but also trash, but also comedy gold.
So another I have not thought this memory in a very long time is, for a long stretch of time, my dad is a big Star Wars fan. Always has been, always will be. He banned the original trilogy for quite a few years not because we didn't watch them, he would ban them on Christmas, because every year, Star Wars, the original trilogy, would play all day on TV, like on Christmas Day for some reason, whether it was like TNT or TBS.
Interesting.
And every single year, we would have Star Wars on in the background. He's just like, maybe for this year, can we not watch Star Wars? And we're like, what what is wrong with you? But like I don't know why, but every year I remember on my grandparents' like tube TV that was in the kitchen, like watching the Death Star trench run, and this like old school, maybe probably like 11 or 12-inch TV that's like bigger that way. Dude, those big old honking TVs back in the day.
Oh, dude, I watched the entire like first time I saw Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series. I watched on a 13-inch tube TV that had a DVD player built into it. It was like it sat in like a little like desk chair. I was just like, this is great. I literally watched the whole series in one day, and I was like, this is prime. This is amazing.
Dude, I miss my iPod Classic.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. Looking back on it now, my phone has more storage space than my iPod Classic and a bigger screen. But back in the day, dude, junior high basketball and high school basketball, I always look forward to. We had one trip per sport per year that it would be like a 45-minute or an hour-long drive. In which case, you would load up a movie or load up a TV show on your iPod Classic. That is how my parents. I don't know if they listen to the podcast or not, but sorry, I watched an R-rated movie a lot sooner than I should have because I borrowed somebody else's iPod Classic. I borrowed somebody else's iPod Classic to watch The Expendables, the first one, and that was like that's the definition of you watch this and that's your parents know it, and you also steal somebody else's iPod to discover a whole new world of music that you didn't know about. What is this Breaking Benjamin? I like this.
This is great. This matches my sadness. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I will not bow. Clearly, Josh.
Clearly, Josh knows shelter. But I got her diary. All right. Like, oh gosh, yes.
Clearly, we were sheltered
like
children.
Zunes and all that.
Oh, dude. There's a douchebag that I hate still to this day. Like, I hated this dude in my class, but I remember he's the only dude I ever knew that had a Zune with iRobot as his one movie that he had on Zune. Just going,
it's a good
movie. But I'm just like, iRobot. I have iRobot on my Zune, which is like the most 2000 sentence you can have. And the best line from iRobot: "Stop cussing. You're not any good at it."
Bro, I have a vivid memory of being like of watching iRobot and going, what is this kid from Holes doing talking like that?
And all of us going on our high horse when Shia LaBeouf became a big name actor going, "We remember him from his Holes days, you illiterate swine." Holes and even Stevens. We're fans before all of you Ben Wagner Transformers fans.
Oh man, imagine being like he gets cast in Transformers and us being like, oh god, we were fans before this. Gosh, dude, that is so weird.
We were back in the day of what was it? Back to the Mat, or what was the Disney Channel wrestling movie?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I didn't have
no,
that.
He wasn't in the wrestling one. Zero from Holes was in that one. There's a Shia LaBeouf movie where he plays like a kid on the autism spectrum or something like that. It's like that's a throwback right there.
I mean, that's What's Eating Gilbert's Grape, and that's Leonardo DiCaprio.
What's Eating Gilbert's Grape?
That's what I said. That's the name of them.
No.
Is that?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape, not Gilbert's Grape. Gilbert Grape is his name. Gilbert's Grape sounds like the VeggieTales parody.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which, okay, if we're talking VeggieTales, those Larry Boy movies used to hit so hard.
See, okay, oh, dude.
Okay, go talk about Larry Boy, and then I got something else VeggieTales related that only a select few people will know.
I was way more like Larry Boy was cool. Like the Rumor Weed stuff.
Rumor Weed was a banger, dude.
Dude, absolutely. But the ones that do it for me are all the parody movies they did towards the end of like Lord of the Beans. Like Lord of the Beans hits so hard. It was like 3 were given to the race of men, but they did not know what they had. They thought they had beans, so they cooked them up and ate them. Like, oh, come on, man. That's so great. Or like, half spoon, half fork. Sporks!
And the sporks are the bad guys.
It's so great, dude. It's so great.
Okay, I'm about to access another core memory from Josh.
Gotcha.
He's gonna be so happy.
Hit me with it.
We all sheltered kids. Remember VeggieTales, but more importantly,
shelter kids.
We remember the Avengers Infinity War level event that was Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. But better
God,
yet,
dude.
the only thing better than Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, was either the final orchestra song that they sing, "Praise the Lord, He's
And
God,"
everyone's like,
or the thing that I'll still watch to this day and claim it's just as funny now as it was back then, that they did not have to go this hard. But the bloopers for the VeggieTales movie.
Dude,
Tree! Kevin! Larry Boy!
Yeah, what are you
guys.
doing here?
And he like tries to hop on the camel and there's a plane flying around in the background, all fully animated. Back when like Toy Story 2 animated their bloopers.
Yeah.
And Stinky Pete just rips one in the box.
Like, God, like I miss like really fun bits like that. The movies that we get nowadays are so like leagues better. I understand, but at the same time, like imagine getting like watching Inside Out and getting little bits of like bloopers in the credits at the end. Like that'd just be so much fun. Like, and I miss that so much. But yeah, like the Jonah bloopers. Oh my gosh! And like they do like what,
Grandma.
4 takes.
Grandma, I sure do love your apple pie. Ew, kitty, 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 kitty.
Like the 4 takes of the pirates like trying to talk about like have their little like behind the screen conversation.
My uncle was a crab.
Visibly like trying to not laugh.
My uncle was a
crab.
My uncle was a crab, and so at the church picnic, we used to tickle his legs. We got him walking across the table. What? This is, hey man, you don't give me a script, I ad lib. This is what you get. I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh, dude.
But the
Unlock
Toy
that
Story 2
memory.
bloopers actually having John Lasseter with an actual film slate with like
Yes.
actual takes on it, like they're live action actors, gets me every time. Or like Buzz lifts up his helmet, he's got the glasses and the mustache.
Yes.
Or I need movies to bring back their actual blooper reels and not just like those cheesy like, dude, where's my car? Like bloopers that they throw in the end credits. Like 2000s comedies just did that for some reason. Be like,
It was so great.
okay, here's a very core memory for all like 90s 2000s kids that's I'm sure all of us remember for some reason. Why is it that a lot of like Adam Sandler or other like comedies of the 90s and 2000s always would show the crotch kicks in the end credits over and over again? All of them. They were always so proud
Always hilarious.
of
Always
their
so
crotch
hilarious.
kicks, or whatever was their quote unquote funniest joke. They just play that on repeat during the end
Proud of
credits.
you.
Like end
Proud
credits
of you.
used to be so much better.
They did. Like people used to be like, "Man, Marvel really started by putting stuff at the end of the credit." Like, no, like
No,
people
put
were
stuff in the
staying
credits itself. Like Minions
Yeah,
actually
like-
did it.
Yeah, we're some of the best jokes of the movie are in the end credits, and that's not taking away from the movie, but they're just like, gosh, dude, I might have to go back and rewatch the Toy Story 2 end credits because they're so funny, so funny. Oh, dude, rest in peace.
Rest to what?
the 2000s, obviously.
I mean, I'm kind of happy they're dead.
Nah,
I mean,
bro, it was a Wild West.
We all remember
YouTube
our
was
fashion
crazy.
choices. We all remember our fashion choices in the 2000s. Josh still had hair. And a
That is
lot of it.
partially true, depending. But like, also the thing about the 2000s too is like, 2000s too. The
Attack of the Clones much?
just, like, no, like fashion was such like one of the like, it's easy to be like, your fashion choices, but like fashion was not a thing. Like we had people showing up to red carpet events in full denim suits. Like,
Look
don't
at you,
even
Britney
pretend.
Spears.
Like, don't even pretend like we knew what we were doing then.
Okay, I just have to know, because I have not Googled this in a while. Since we're not
Yeah.
in the 2000s anymore,
Yeah,
is PacSun still in business?
yeah, they are.
Okay,
The-
because
yeah,
I
they-
do
they
not
do
hear
some
from
pretty cool
them
stuff.
like ever. Because PacSun was everywhere. Everyone wore Hurley. Everyone had the exact same like checkered Vans, and they thought they were so original for it. Either they had the checkered Vans, or they made them become checkered Vans.
Yeah, which is way cooler.
And everyone thought they were
dude,
original by drawing that S.
Dude, okay, so here's the thing. I was that kid, me and my friends, we had Converse. Like I was still a Vans kid, absolutely, but like we had Converse, and you'd write on the big white part in the tip of your foot. You write right on the left shoe and left on the right shoe. That's hilarious to me. That's still funny to me. Are you kidding me? I'm a huge, and it doesn't help that that Converse are literally like clown shoes. Like, come on, man. That's so funny.
What else? I'm trying to think. What other core memories are we gonna access today?
I mean, I could sit here and like just talk about like the time that I was heading to a major basketball tournament with my family and friends, and the little TV that they had in the car, like the sound went out like halfway through the first time ever seeing Lost in Space with the guy that like the guy that plays Joey Tribbiani from Friends. He's in it.
Yeah, the only movie that I can think of him in besides that one monkey movie.
Yes. Halfway through, not even like 15 minutes in, the sound on the TV completely goes out at the start of a 3-hour car drive. And we were like, you know what? Let's make up the dialogue. And so we just like made up the dialogue for the entire movie, which, admittedly probably made the movie more entertaining.
So, speaking of long trips, this, for some reason, accesses 2 core memories here. It's 6th grade. I have a whole bunch of relatives that live over in the UK, so my family was like, let's make sure you see them at least once. So we take a big plane ride over. For some reason, each way, even though it's like a 10-hour flight, each way they only show Goblet of Fire once. The rest of the movies they play on repeat, but Goblet of Fire, you better watch it that one time because you're not going to get repeat viewings. Chicken Little, on the other hand, played on repeat. So, even though Chicken Little's not that good, I am that much of a procrastinator that I put off putting a paper that I had to do that was due when I came back. I would get so distracted by Chicken Little that I would not do the paper. I have seen Chicken Little way too much. Once is too much, but I have seen Chicken Little probably 4 or 5 times now just from that flight. And I still, to this day, do not fathom why they would show Chicken Little on repeat, but Goblet of Fire once each way. Even though you could fit multiple showings of Goblet of Fire, I get they'd be like, oh, we don't have time. It's a 10+ hour flight. Also, that was the first time I ever had salmon was on a flight, and surprisingly, didn't put me off salmon. I like salmon because of that flight. My other core memory with trips is my family went to, it had to have been Disneyland because Grandma would not have gone to a Rocky Spring Training game. But we drove from Colorado to Disneyland, so that's a nice long road trip. Also, I have a quick side tangent.
What a sentence, bro! What a sentence! No, it couldn't.
We drove to Rocky Spring Training Camp in Arizona, but Grandma would not have come with us for that trip, unless I'm misremembering. She would not do spring training; it's too hot. But so we're driving to California from Denver to California, long drive. My grandma's memory is kind of going at this point, so we have the portable DVD player, which are just amazing. We kind of set her up with a portable DVD player. And because her memory was going, this is going to sound horrible, but we kind of needed to keep her occupied during the drive. So one of her favorite movies was Sound of Music because she had the biggest crush on Christopher Plummer, which is she also had a crush on Mark Harmon from NCIS, which is also kind of creepy. Not creepy that she liked it, but it was creepy how much she liked both of them. So we put Sound of Music on just a loop for the entire drive, and I would have liked to have watched a movie, but she more or less had the DVD player all to herself. But also, like, I remember struggling with the like binder of DVDs, going, okay, I kind of want to watch this, Disney's Tower of Terror movie, of course. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I gotta watch the final battle on this on repeat, obviously, for the drive.
I still want to watch the final battle.
Dude, that's such a good fight. I need a 4K remaster of that, please.
They won't. That series never happened, don't you know?
Dude, the DVD player. When we first moved to Colorado, not all our stuff had come yet, especially our TVs. So I just laid on my bedroom floor watching this little like DVD player. Quick side tangent though. Everyone at home, I'm sure will enjoy, because not related to movies whatsoever, but it got me thinking with a road trip. And if my family is listening to this, or even others listening to this, they know exactly where I'm going with this. I've already set the stage earlier within this podcast. I'm coming to this that I don't like snakes. Arizona has quite a few of them. So
really?
We're on another road trip to Rocky Spring Training, which is a really cool experience. But we get out, there's this not even gas station, bathroom rest stop in the middle of freaking nowhere, middle of the desert in Arizona. And as soon as you get in your car, every 3 feet, there's a sign, stay on path, snakes in area. Oh god, I was never more scared in my entire life. And also, I set the distance record for how far away you could be from the urinal and still make it in because I was so paranoid. I was going to have a snakes on a plane situation and have a snake just pop up out of the urinal and just fly at me. And my parents made fun of me because I'm just like, you remember Kronk in Emperor's New Groove, like sticking to the wall? That was me. That was me sticking to the wall going, I don't see any snakes, but none of them are going to sneak up on me. Not today. And so I'm like slowly opening the bathroom door like Michael Myers in H2O, just going, snakes? I'm not. I probably had to poop, but you cannot pay me to sit down for the same fear that a snake was going to come up and kill me on the spot. Not from his bite, from giving me a sheer heart attack. So, not relevant, but y'all need to be entertained.
Dude. Do you want to? I've got a core memory involving snakes. If you want me to share that with you, it has nothing to do with movies, but absolutely.
Let's do that, and we'll figure out some last closing stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my family, we used to camp a lot before my dad got diagnosed with sleep apnea. We used to camp like a lot, and like camping in Texas is not exactly like you have to do it in very specific times of the year.
Bring your guns, people.
Well, times of the year because it gets so stinking hot. So there was one, I forget which campground it was, but it had signs like stay on the path, snakes, are in the area, blah, blah, blah. And it was that night we as a group, as a family, were going to go to the bathrooms because when you on camping sites in those days, like the bathrooms and the showers were all in one place. And like, it was, it just made more sense for all of us to go at the same time. Because I think we were still at like the age that like, I wouldn't have trusted us to go to and from the campsite to the bathroom. So my dad like noticed the sign and was like, "Oh, all right, guys, stay on the path." And literally, we turned the corner and there's a diamondback rattler curled up in the middle of the road. And like, as we turned the corner, it like looked dead at us. And my dad goes, I don't really have to take a shower that bad anyway. And we all just like turned around and like took an alternate path to get to the bathroom.
Dude, I was hiking with my dad.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
I remember hiking with my dad once in Colorado. We would do that every once in a while. We're hiking. We're somewhat off the path, but not too far. All of a sudden, we hear was clearly the rattle of a rattlesnake. I'm just going, what was that? My dad's like, sure you want to know? We're gonna head back to the car now.
Yeah.
Just like,
oh gosh.
Okay. Since I brought it up, and I always have to bring this up because it's one of my favorite movie memories. For the positive, with my dad when we went to Disneyland. Tie it all back. It all comes full circle here.
Equally
this was
balanced.
clearly the same trip as the Sound of Music Grandma.
Sound of Music Grandma.
Sounded weird coming out.
I just have a mental image of Julie Andrews like as like a grandma from Encanto, like Sound of Music Grandma.
Yeah, that's the same trip with the Sound of Music Grandma. So you don't normally go to the movie theaters on vacation because it's vacation. You're supposed to do stuff that you can't do at home. But I remember Man of Steel was coming out and I was so obnoxious I need to see this movie. And back then they had these glorious things, youngins, called midnight showings. God,
Rest in
midnight
peace.
Showings. They're 7 p.m. showings are just not the same. Like Endgame was cool, but I wish that would have been a midnight showing because everyone's even more amped for those.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a midnight showing of Man of Steel at the AMC at Disney Springs in Disneyland. And so it's midnight showing. We're on vacation. And we knew we had to get up early next morning. I was just like, Dad, please, can we do it? And I remember my mom looking dead at my dad going, if you do it, I'm not coming with you because it's midnight. My mom very much values sleep. Whereas my dad, for some reason, and I'm thankfully I'm taking after him he only needs like 6 hours of sleep and he's good. So he's like, do you really want to see this? It's like, yes. Promise you're not going to complain about being tired in the morning? Yes, I promise. All right, fine. It's also like the first time we've ever picked our seats ahead of time. Like they had us reserve our seats. So we get like awkward seats, like almost in the aisle because we're so off to the side. But it was so nice after seeing Marvel dominate everything from 2008 to 2012. All Marvel everything. Seeing people with Batman and Superman shirts and Justice League shirts. I'm going, peoples! And I loved Man of Steel then. I won't say I soured on it, but I don't love it as much as I did that opening. I still really, really enjoy it. I think it's just a little disjointed. But I remember talking about my dad with it all that night. It's still one of my favorite memories that I have with him. And I've got a lot of great memories, but I think movie-wise, that's my favorite memory with him. I remember talking about whether it was right that Superman killed Zod at the end and having a big old debate about that for a while. And I'm still up in the air about it because Superman has killed before. He does not have a no-kill policy like Batman does. That being said, I don't think killing was the only option on the table in that situation. I think he could have done more to get Zod out of that predicament. I don't know. Fly upwards?
But he couldn't fly, remember?
No, he's not Tom Welling.
Yeah. I am very much of the mindset that he's brand new Superman and hasn't really had to deal with stuff like that. So his brain is not thinking of, new inventive ways to deflect laser beams. So to him, maybe that was the only choice. And I think that in some ways, I think Zod would have just kept going. I don't think he would have stopped. I think even if Superman had tried to, had successfully made him not kill that family without, killing Zod, I think Zod still would have tried to do something to that effect. I don't think that would have changed much.
Fair. But also, to your point, no, I wasn't tired the next morning. For some reason, I was so amped from the night before. I was like, I'm probably running on 4 hours of sleep. I don't care. Superman. Now let's go ride the Matterhorn.
It's so crazy though. The more I think about it, the more I kind of realize a lot of the movies I've seen that have core memories were all ones that I saw on trips. So Hot Shots Part Deuce, Airplane, Kung Pao. I have vivid memories of seeing those on trips, Boy Scout trips, obviously. Not my parents would not have showed me Airplane as a 14-year-old kid. But no, seeing those vivid core memories of gosh, it really is crazy that thinking about it now, Hot Shots Part Deuce, Airplane, and Kung Pao shaped my sense of humor, and I think you can even tell to this day it is very much my sense of humor. But it's crazy to think that something what would that be, an hour and a half? It's crazy to think that an hour and a half can have that vivid of a memory. I could tell you it was on a laptop in the middle of in between the front and passenger seat, and my buddy Austin was right there. Ben was in the back. Matt was was behind me, and we were all just laughing. And then once that was done, we hooked up Austin's his Xbox and played Halo in the car on the way there. So it was God, I have such a vivid memory of trips and maybe that was we didn't really have podcasts and mobile gaming wasn't really a thing yet. It was, but
we probably had Jetpack Joyride on all of our phones in Temple Run.
Yeah, exactly. It was but up until we got a Nintendo DS, that first one, baby, and we had I have a vivid memory of sitting there back at Ben was in the seat in front of me, and I was behind him. And we had a Guitar Hero for our DS, and so we'd sit there and play the same songs, and then try to get better scores. Oh, that was just cool. Just it was so such a weird a contraption to have to hold the DS in your hand and then have a pick for the touchscreen.
It was weird.
It was weird,
but it was easy because there's only 4 buttons as opposed to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude,
I couldn't imagine if they actually attached a an actual neck to it. Oh, that would have been crazy. But yeah, it was such a weird thing. But it's very interesting to me. A lot of my core memories when it comes to movies and stuff like that, a lot of them come from traveling moments, which is very, I guess maybe that's not so odd for people our age, but I guess that doesn't sound right to people our world today anyway.
Well, what do you guys think? What are some of your all-time, like, most random or funny, entertaining movie stories that you have that are somehow connected to movies or entertainment? Let us know in the comments below. Always like hearing from you guys. It's always entertaining reading some of your comments and your stories, so let us know some of your stories. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And if you aren't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.
Wait, Nate, you didn't do the announcement.
Oh, yeah! We're not going to cut it yet. We're not going to cut it yet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh, for saving this.
Yeah, no problem.
So, this is episode 190. Gosh, we've been doing this. It doesn't even feel like we've been doing this long, but we really have. So, for our 200th, I've been working on something, and I'm still kind of chipping away at it. I'm almost caught up, though. For our 200th, Josh and I probably won't be here. We might have an intro and an outro, but by and large, you're going to see old Josh and Nate in terms of it's going to be a clip show. It's going to be a clip show of all the best, worst, most iconic, or random moments from, like, random out of context moments, big moments from the show. Basically, the highlights of 200 episodes worth of the Uncharted Media podcast of, like, Tinfoil Hat Theory, the first time that made its debut. The very first intro that we ever did for the show. Sporadic jokes that have been recurring things. The first time we ever had merch on the show. We've got a lot of what we would probably consider highlights. But
yeah, there was a bit for a long time where I just made up a sponsor every single episode.
I have that in there. But also,
let's go.
I've gone through almost all of the episodes. I think I'm down to like 28 or so episodes left to listen back to. But if there's any episodes that or moments in particular that you really, really enjoyed or you want us to make sure we include, let us know down in the comments. Let us reach out to us on various social media. We're going to make you guys a part of this. So the 200th episode will be a highlight celebrating the 200th episode that we got so far, because you guys have been awesome. You stick with us, and hopefully we can get 200 more from there and continue to make this show, because it's always entertaining. It's the highlight of the week. Is it difficult sometimes? Yeah, some days I don't feel like doing graphics. Some days I don't feel like doing recording, but it always ends up being worth it. So we're going to celebrate the 200th episode of us, frankly, still not knowing what we're doing after 200 episodes.
Yeah, that's about true. And I think even like when we quote unquote know what we're doing, I don't think we'll ever know what we're doing.
Oh no, I'm purposely leaving in and not touching anything audio related so we can hear how much it's changed over the 200 episodes.
Dude.
So if you have best moments, let us know down in the comments below. And once again, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.